Another difference, what we have over here, instead of the nice screw-in 4-prong connector, most vendors, what they do is supply you with this makeshift kind of ghetto fabulous plug-and-play harness over here. So I don't know if you can see this clearly, but you have these little, is the camera focusing on that? Not really. Yeah, there we go. These little connectors over here, these little female, like, spade connectors or whatever you want to call them. They just kind of plug right into here, into these little prongs. Boom, boom, they slip right over, and then this rubber shroud slips over there to quote-unquote weatherproof it. And I guess it works. If it were me, I would wrap a cable tie around here, a zip tie or something like that to keep it a little bit better. But same deal. We got the female 9006 connectors, plug and play right into your stock headlight wiring. So very easy to upgrade. Doesn't take very long to pop your old US headlights out and pop these in. There are also a couple more companies that make glass lens ellipsoids. A company called DJ Auto makes them. A company called Apex Cone also makes them. So you got a little bit of a list in terms of options that you can choose from in terms of choosing an upgraded glass lens US style ellipsoid light to replace your stock US headlights. So that is that. Now, everything up until this point has been done under the premise that you are just upgrading to get better light output, to have a better quality headlight with better build quality overall in there, and something that looks better, something that's a little bit more resistant to the elements when you're driving around. So we are now going to talk about HIDs, bring that into the equation. This is an HID bulb. It's actually a capsule. We'll go over that in a minute. This is what we call a D2S bulb. HID bulbs are not really bulbs at all. They're capsules, like I just mentioned. And they're capsules and not bulbs because they do not have a metal filament in them, which is kind of the definition of a bulb. If I was able to zoom in on here, which I don't think I'm really going to be able to, but can you see that? There's little salts in the glass over here. And what happens when you run current through these salts, they kind of vaporize, and the vapors, the gases in the bulb, are actually what ignites and emits light when you run a current through them. So capsules, not bulbs. But for all intents and purposes in this video, we'll be calling them bulbs. So this is the type of technology that came out in the 90s and is really kind of making its way into the automotive industry. And little by little more cars are being offered with HID systems as OEM lighting units. So this differs in a couple ways to halogen lighting. The bulbs obviously are different. They have different bases. They run off different electronics. HID capsules, HID bulbs require a specific type of lighting ballast to power them. We don't have these types of lighting ballasts in our E36-era BMWs. The cars were not designed with this in mind at all. So, does that mean that we can't upgrade to HID lighting? Well, no, we can upgrade to HID lighting, but let's go over a little bit of information first so we know what we're actually doing when we do that. This over here is an HID projector. This is out of an Acura TSX. Okay. And out of an Acura TSX, what I mean by that is I literally went to the junkyard, found a TSX headlight, and ripped the projector out of it. Okay. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble with this. There we go. So what happens is the bulb goes in the back over here and sits in this projector. Now you can see how it fits in, and I'm not going to pull these things down, but it fits right into the back over there. This base over here, this HID D2S base, is designed to plug right into this type of projector. And you can see it's going to be kind of hard with the reflective coating on the bowl over here, but it sits very nicely in the back of the projector bowl, exactly where it's supposed to be. Something about projector design. This big thing over here, this is what we call a cutoff shield. Okay, what this does is it makes it so that we have uniform light everywhere but above where the cutoff shield decides to cut it off. Now, keep in mind that this is a lens over here, and if you look closely through it, you can see that, like any lens, everything that you see is being turned upside down, being rotated 180 degrees. Now see, if you look over here, cutoff shield is upside down. What that means is when you're driving around, the cutoff shield is cutting light output from the top, not from the bottom, so it's really kind of like this, okay? And I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this. I'll try to zoom in again. But if you look closely, see this little step up over here? Very, very, very tiny. But we call those upticks, okay? HID lighting, the light output on it is not totally straight when you're driving, okay? The cutoff line. And I'm sure you've seen pictures of this stuff online, the cutoff lines. The entire purpose of that, hold on a sec. Sorry about that. The entire purpose of that is so that we can have very intense light output below the cutoff line, but above the cutoff line, aka where people's eyes are when you're driving at oncoming drivers or you're driving behind someone on the highway or on a back road, above the cutoff line, little to no light. Okay, so we have very intense light where we need it out on the road, but we're not blinding people at the same time. That's the purpose of this cutoff shield. Okay, the halogen projectors and the Euro lights over here have them as well. Design does differ a little bit though. What happens if we try to put an HID capsule into a projector that's designed for halogen bulbs? Well, it physically will fit. This is the depot projector, by the way. Pull it out of a depot headlight. ZKWs are very similar. Physically, it'll go right in. Very, very close. It makes a terrible noise, so I'm not going to shove it in, but it will fit in there. But what's going to happen is this base, the plastic part of the bulb, the part that plugs into the projector, you have a new voicemail. It's completely different from the base of the HID bulb over here. Okay, so how do we actually get HIDs to work in the halogen projectors? You know, you can buy plug-and-play kits. What the heck is up with that? Well, initially, some company over in China or wherever had decided that it would be a good idea for them to make money if they could take this glass part of the capsule, okay, and put it on the base for a halogen bulb. So what if we were to take the glass part and take the plastic piece of an H1 bulb that's supposed to go in here and glue them together and make it so they work, and then we can shove this thing into the halogen projector? Well, that's fantastic. We can get the HID bulb to work in the halogen projector. We can have HIDs in our BMW headlights. Well, not the best thing. Let's take a look at these two different projector bulbs. And apologies, I do not have the lens for the depot here, but we'll take a look at them. And you can see right off the bat that they are not the same at all. They're pretty different. They're sized differently. The focal point, the focal length, where the bulb sits, where the cutoff shields are, those are different. Where the projector lenses themselves are going to be sitting, those are different. So basically the entire projector setup is completely different. So what you're actually doing when you buy a plug-and-play kit, when you buy what we call these rebased bulbs, because they have a different type of base attached to the glass housing, it's not really meant to be that way. You put the rebased bulb in here, you're putting a bulb in there that's not at the correct focal point, doesn't have the correct length between the bulb itself and the cutoff shield, or the bulb itself and the lens over here. And if I were to have an H1 bulb in front of me, you'd see that it's about half the size. The glass part is about half the size of this too, so everything is completely off. It definitely works. These put out more light, just plain more light than the H1 bulbs do. So you're going to get more light. Is that light going to be put on the road as efficiently and as focused and as uniform as it is if you were using the projector it was designed for? Well, no, and that's the downfall of plug-and-play kits. Okay, but we have companies that are willing to fabricate these rebased bulbs and make it work for us if in fact we want to go that route. And if you do want to go that route, just understand that it's not optimal. It's a company ripping things apart and putting them back together in a way that they really weren't engineered to be used. So no big deal, they do work, but it's pretty far from optimal. Okay.